Hi, everyone. I am so excited to have everyone join this evening. My name is Tabitha MacDonald, and I am a certified magnetic mind coach and one of the 4 founding members of the Soma tribe, which you are hopefully watching this as part of a preview of what we are planning to offer within our amazing new group coaching program that we're launching. So what I'm going to do is have everybody go around and introduce themselves. And just so you know, as a preface for the call, what we're going to talk about tonight is body image issues, healthy eating, embracing a healthy lifestyle while also accepting yourself as you are in a loving and compassionate way. So that's kind of the premise of the call. But we're going to just go ahead and introduce everybody. I'm going to start with to my left, which is Julie Simpson.
Hi, everyone. My name is Julie Simpson, and I have been privileged enough to join fellow coaches, Tabitha and Amber and Michele, on this journey. And today we'll be dealing with body image. And for me, this has been a crux of my life, unfortunately. I've gone through ups and downs. I've been overweight as a child, lost weight, always a part of my identity in feeling bad about my body, always feeling shame, feeling anxious around people that were maybe how I perceived myself that I wanted to be. So with this program and the work that led us into creating this program, we will lead you through how to defeat those beliefs, those emotions that you get that come up when you have to put on a bathing suit or you're going to be judged or you feel you're going to be judged. So through this program, we've learned to neutralize those limiting beliefs, and they're all created for a good reason, to keep us from harm when we were younger. And we've internalized those and the emotions that went with them. So they keep coming back. And so we're together, the 4 of us are going to twice a week get on and teach you how to neutralize those yourself. And then eventually you get into a state where they don't even come up. So that's where we go with this. And it's a very exciting process. And we hope you join us.
Nice. Thank you, Julie. That's a great introduction. We'll go down to straight below me, Amber.
Hey, everybody. I'm Amber Corinne. So with this introduction to the Soma Tribe group coaching community, we're offering 1 group coaching call a week and then 1 magnetic mind. We actually are doing a superconscious recode. We're all certified magnetic mind coaches, and we're offering a superconscious recode. So as Julie has mentioned, what we're doing here is we're putting you into a proactive, creative orientation. We often live our life in a reactive orientation, and we can't quite figure out why we never get ahead or why we never make any headway on what it is that we'd like to experience. So when it comes to body image issues, you go to the gym for a while, you put a whole lot of energy and effort in, you dial back your eating or you clean it up and you see some progress. But after a certain point, because you've been reacting this whole time, you hit a breaking point and you can no longer, you've basically exhausted your muscle, your will muscle, at forcing yourself to go to the gym and forcing yourself to eat properly. And it gets exhausting. And then you backslide back into your old experiences, what's comfortable, the same patterns and habits that you've had in the past. So with our coaching, we help you identify the structures in your life which are creating the experience you're having, and then help you get into a new structure so that you can create what it is that you truly love to experience from a place of empowerment and proactivity instead of a place of reacting and trying to run away and fix something. So tonight we're going to get you into that experience and that structure. And I'll pass it over to Michele.
Thank you. The others have spoken to our intention of putting a new spin, a new perspective, new creative structure in place for you and for us. And I came to this, just a little bit of an introduction. I came to this work in the past year or so, and what spoke to me was exactly what we've touched upon of it's not it's moving from fixing a problem, moving from an if then experience. If I lose weight, then I'll be fabulous. If I eat better, then I'll feel better. If I get married, then I'll be happy. And if then, it's always conditional. And I just had various stages through my life. And in this conversation, particularly with realizing that no matter what size I was, I took me with me. And I had a particular lens that I took along, and looking back at pictures of myself as a teen or a young woman, I was like, wow, dang, I was hot. Did I appreciate that at the time? No. And so dragging along this body dysmorphia with me, I was just like, well, I'm going to feel like crap anyway, and just packed on an extra 70 pounds. So and that we were exploring this the other day, and it was just very, very interesting to have such tangible examples of the lenses and the personalities that we adapted. And as Julie spoke to, what kept us safe was comfort eating or whatever. So it was very interesting container to unpack and explore how this new way of thinking and choosing a new outcome can be very powerful in actually making lasting, down to the core, grounded changes in your experiences and your choices and your success, whatever you define that as to be. So I've managed to rediscover my body, create a new connection with it, and now I'm more empowered when things come up again, things that I'm done, it's finished, blah, and it pops up. And so to be able to recognize that and be in a very empowered position to see it coming and that old little wounded me coming up and react differently and just go, I see you, I honor you, and I'm still choosing this and carrying on. So that's what we're unpacking a little bit tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, I know that we've all struggled in this program. We've all struggled with our weight. I've lost over 100 pounds on my journey several times, but this is for this last time. I've lost over 100 pounds, and I've used literally every diet program on the planet: exercise, low carb, vegan, like everything. And it didn't matter. I could never grasp the identity of somebody who was healthy and fit. And it was really the identity shift that I was struggling with, because I had such bad body dysmorphia. Like I would look in the mirror, like 5 pounds from goal, and still see someone who was over 300 pounds and, not worthy of having this like healthy, fit body. So this time I've decided to go at it from this perspective of creating a healthy relationship with food and myself, and do it in the most loving, compassionate way. So I used to have this like mean girl who would wake me up in the morning and be like, you better get your fat ass to the gym. And now it's like this really nice, beautiful voice who's like, good morning, sunshine. I think you'll have a much better day if you wake up and get in the Peloton.
I had the opposite. I had the mean girl who was like, there's no reason to get out of bed except for those cookies that are in the cupboard down there. Wait a second, there's chocolate milk still hanging out from the other day. Like, that's my mean girl who was literally the only reason I would get up was because I could put creamer in my coffee that was sweet and fatty. And like,
isn't that funny? Because your mean girl showed up like pretending like she was nice, right? She's like, oh, come on over here and have some nice, delicious creamer to start your day.
Yeah. That's the funny thing, and it's the magic of this work is that it's almost universal with women, and that everybody, or you meet a model. I have a friend who's absolutely gorgeous, and she complains about her body image, and she's never had a good body image, and it's just something in what was the limiting belief that we grew up in, that we got when we were very, very young before we could even realize. And perhaps, perhaps it was even by a well-meaning parent or a sister or somebody, and that emotion built, and we got that ingrained. So we're never good enough, and that's the magic of this work, is that we realize we're not broken and we are perfect. So that's been the exciting part for me.
I love that you said that, because sorry, but when I went to this body image coach once, she was like, oh no, you have to love the way that you look now. And I looked at her like, how the heck am I supposed to lose weight if I love my body like this? Like, how do you do that by loving yourself at a larger size. And I just looked at her and was like, bye, have a nice life. I'm going. I'm going to go use my shame approach because that works.
Yeah, that's something that I noticed after I released about 60, 65 pounds, and I was like slinking around, and I was thinking, part of me was very, very aware when I hit the number I was at now on the downward scale. I was like, yeah. But when I hit that number when I was heading on the way up, same identical number, but oh my God, I was shitting all over myself about, oh, you should lose more. You're such a loser. Oh my God, you need bigger pants and all that kind of stuff. So it's 100% the lens that you have, the perspective that you have. And it came up again with less bite and less of a sting this time, because again, I was coming off this big shift and I had released this amount of weight and I'm slinking around like I'm a freaking supermodel. I go, look, sideways view, my boobs are further out than my belly, woohoo! And then wait a few weeks and I stabilized and I sat there, and then I was realizing, oh, I was back in that exact same dialogue of, no, my midsection's still mushy or whatever, or my bum is now lower than it used to be, or whatever it was. I'm going, isn't that interesting? So it's always that moving, and I have the skill set now, and I saw her very, very clearly. And I said, it's always the shifting end line. It's always the shifting end line. It's like, oh, we need another 5, 10, 20, whatever it's going to be. And until poof, I disappear. Like, what's the end line? But I now have the skills and realize, okay, that she's still popping up, that never good enough girl, that whatever girl. And I'm like, I see you. And I'm choosing this, I'm choosing health, I'm choosing good enough, I'm choosing, and it depends on the day. And just to take the sting out of it is enormous.
It's funny that you said that, because that's literally what I'm struggling with right now. Is like, I can think 100 pounds ago, I would have killed somebody to weigh what I weigh right now. And now I'm like, oh, I'm so fat and I'm the worst weight ever and I hate my body. And it's like, do you know what 100 pounds ago you would have given to get to where you are right now? And it's like, I'm struggling with that identity that's like, oh, it's not good enough. I'm not doing enough. I'm not getting far along enough. So I love that you said that, because it is like that mindset shift. And it's something that we always have to work on, right? Like, it doesn't stop.
So as you guys are sharing these stories, it's reminding me, like, I use clothes, like I have a scale and I use it occasionally, but I kind of use clothes as my measurement as to where I'm at. And I always wear tighter clothes with the intention that they're going to fit loosely at some point. But then when they start to fit too loosely, then they don't fit properly. And so then I either buy a smaller size or I eat more so that they fit tight again. And so I'm usually in like some sort of like uncomfortable situation. But during the summertime, I wear a lot of dresses and I don't wear as much jeans. And when you're wearing a dress, those usually don't fit tight ever. And so I gained weight during the summertime. And then during the quarantine, I was still wearing jeans when everyone was wearing yoga pants, because I wanted to make sure I didn't get the quarantine 50, whatever you're calling it. And everyone's like, don't you hate wearing jeans? I'm like, no, I freaking love jeans. I feel like sloppy if I don't have jeans on or something that's a little more restrictive, because there is those like patterns and routines that we get into that we don't even realize how we're living our life, and we're causing, we're allowing ourselves to be controlled by this body image and setting up our environment in ways to kind of keep that in place so that we don't get out of control with it, or we, maintain that inner critic. And I've noticed with the work I've done through this coaching program, what we're offering people, the work we've done together, is that, yeah, as Michele mentioned, you start to notice when you're falling back into that and you're not actually living from a place of, this is the experience that I want to have. I want to feel good in my body. At the end of the day, yeah, I want to look good, but I don't want to look good because I want other people to care. I want to look good because I want to feel good. And when I feel good in my body, of course, I naturally look good. And getting to that place, you think it's not possible or it's like not achievable, but it absolutely is. Everybody can get there. And I've noticed, yeah, when I start to step away from it.
That's such a good point, because when I'm working with people, the hardest thing to do is to get them to feel good in their body when they've never felt good in their body. So what tools do you guys or ladies suggest that people can, or do we have one that we want to demonstrate where you can actually feel good in your body now?
Well, for me, it started with getting clear on what I wanted. Very, very clear. And it was kind of like a muscle. When I first started going to the gym, like, even though I go to the gym and I wear smaller clothes than I did like 4 years ago or 3 years ago, or even like 2 years ago, I still feel not so good when I see myself in the mirror and when I'm getting on the machines and lifting heavier weights and all of these things. And I realized, like, it doesn't really matter what you're looking at in the mirror. As Michele said, you're always going to have that inner critic. So doing the work through the Soma Tribe coaching and using the superconscious Recode, first getting clear on what I wanted. And it starts with being healthy, because when you feel good in your body and when you're healthy, then you naturally start to want to become more flexible, be more mobile. You want to nourish your body with nourishing foods and products, and you want to take care of yourself in a way, instead of being mean and forcing your body into like excessive exercise or like into eating things that you're not really enjoying. So I started getting clear on that, and then also started getting clear on what that looked like for me. So we all have the ability to create a mental picture. Some people think they can't vision, that they can't, imagine what they would want in their mind, but we actually all have that ability. If I ask you to remember like what you ate for breakfast this morning, you might not have eaten breakfast at all, or your mind might be scanning eggs, bacon, protein shake, like orange juice, apple, whatever it was. You're picturing all of these items of food that I'm saying right now. That is an example of you being able to vision inside. So getting clear on what the vision of my body looked like for me, and not from a place of like excessive, like I need to look like a supermodel, but just what feels good. If I could have any body, like when I felt the best in my body, like what did it look like? What was I doing? And starting to envision all of the activities that I was doing, what styles of clothing I was wearing. Like I love fashion. And the more I'm comfortable in my body, the more I'm able to express myself through my fashion choices and the clothes that I'm wearing. And then, what activities am I doing? So I'm going swimming and it feels really good, and I'm not worried about who's looking at me in a swimsuit. I'm just enjoying the sunshine and the water and the air. So that's how I started getting into that place. And once I could feel it in my body and feel that sense of kind of satisfaction and feeling alive and expansive and feeling good, I then was able to use the process that we use here at Soma Tribe, so that I'm letting go of any resistance to that. And then when I was taking the action steps to create a lower calorie meal or to go to the gym and do some cardio, it wasn't hard. I wasn't forcing myself. I wasn't using that will muscle. I was doing it because I wanted to. And there's a really big shift of doing something because you are forcing yourself and controlling, versus doing something that you want to do, something that feels effortless and natural because it's fun.
That's huge, that willpower shift. We're coming out of willpower, because I look at willpower like you only have like so many bucks, right? Like if you only have so much of a budget, if you use it all up to get to the gym, you might not have it later to eat a salad when you should. So when you do it in that creative orientation, it just becomes easy.
Yeah, there is science behind that, but you actually have a tank, a measurable amount of willpower, and after every choice is dips into that, made them ever so easy or ever so hard, and you do deplete it by the end of the day.
And that's why it's perfect, the Soma Tribe program, because we deal with momentum. We deal with, there's only so much motivation you can have, and that's kind of usually got established from external sources. But the momentum we build ourselves. So as we see that picture, as Amber said, of that you on the beach or in that high fashion outfit, and we picture that and we establish a tension structure towards that, then we're pulled there with the momentum of that, just being able to see it. We're in the inevitable timeline of being that person. So we're just a version of ourselves, one step behind that bikini laden, sitting in the sun, beautiful vision. And that's exciting because it's inevitable. It is, and you can step off every now and then, and you're allowed to eat a cookie, you're allowed to enjoy life, and you're going to be the same person regardless of whether, we learn to let go of judgment of others, because it really doesn't matter what other people think. It's all, when you have the self-love, it's great to have admiration of others, and that's fantastic, but you don't need it.
Yes, it's not a FOMO and it's not envy. And it's for me, one of the core premises that we work out of is living a life you love, which is just so profound when you really feel into that, like what? And that for me was a huge leap that I've been taking off layer after layer after layer. And I was very much the type of person just living by default. Oh, that needs to get done. Oh, this job appears. Oh, this situation. Okay. And not really actually understanding that I could make choices and actually intentionally build a life that I love. I'm like, what? No, I just have to do things. I'm a mom, I'm a this, I'm a that, all that kind of stuff. So it took a lot of iterations to get to a point of what would I love. And in that was, guess what? I'd love to get off the couch without hurting. I'd love to not have to, that's not phrased accurately, but using my 14-year-old son to go fetch something, usually more food, because it took me too long to stand up because I was aching, and it's just ridiculous. I'm like, this is not the version of a life I love. So that became very, very clear. And then to move from a pattern of making choices, getting away from stuff, to no, this is where I'm headed, is subtle but so profound. And I'm kind of smiling because I'm seeing right over your head, Julie. It's almost magnetic. This propulsion we have to the choice that we've made, right? It's just with as much effort, once you're in that structure and you see what comes up and you release it, and a magnet doesn't question that it's going to happen. It's just it's aligned and shook, off it goes, right?
Inevitable.
Definitely. And it's true too, like that we have all of these, like as we go through the process, we have all of these parts of us that actually don't want to be healthy, right? Like there's so many part-time personalities at play, depending on the structure of your ego, that actually will get in your way of getting there. Like I know as a I don't like using this term, but for lack of a better term, survivor of a lot of sexual trauma, like having a fat suit was extremely important to my identity, to keep me safe. And so as I've been uncovering this, sometimes I gain weight when one of my new identities comes up, and it's like, it's not safe, you're losing weight and people will see you again, like put it back on. And then I have to now deal with this new identity. And that's where having coaches help, because they're like, oh, you're getting back into this new identity that's coming up, and it's just layered. And, as we move through the process, you get into those deeper wounds or, obstacles that have kept you on this trajectory. And so, sometimes it's not linear, it's very radial, depending on your relationship with food, relationship with your body, and relationship with, and why you gained weight to begin with. So I think that those part-time personalities can be very overpowering. I know Amber has encountered many of them with me, and she's like, whoa, that one is really
they get intense, you think it's tenacious, but it's really not. Yeah.
What's so wonderful too is it isn't. But what's so amazing about this is whenever it comes up, it's so profoundly different also from traditional talk therapy or cognitive coaching, because there's so much of it. There is no logical why. There isn't. There's just, we have inherited stuff, particularly, oh my God, in the body image. We can't even find the original source of back when it was, there was a time, unimaginable as it is, but you were supposed to be a Rubenesque because everybody needs fats and folds and drape yourself all over, and there were people who were upset because they were too skinny. So the source, right? The source of never good enough is, I think, as soon as there was more than two people on the planet, there was judgment, right? And
even in our lifetime, we've seen the Kate Moss figure that that's the aspiring type, and now we've got the Kim Kardashian figure that's the aspiring type, which is very voluptuous, and you can't keep up. You just can't.
And the source of the discontent is all unconscious. We got it from our mothers, got it from their mothers, who got it from their fathers, who got it from whoever decided somebody was worthy, we'll never consciously know what the source is. And with this methodology, we don't have to. Right. It just has to pop up, and we're having a stress reaction. We're having I need to reach for that food. We have, I need to go curl up and put on very many layers of sweatpants, or whatever it is. All we need to be aware of is that something's popped up. That's it.
The other thing that I came up with today too was if we don't have something else to focus on, if we've been focusing on losing weight since we were 5, we don't know what to focus on. So part of the way the coaching program is like, let's create a life that you love so much that losing weight and food and all of this stuff becomes so uninteresting that like you no longer want to focus on it because you have this life that's so amazing that you want to go live that instead. But I noticed that with a lot of people, it's like, oh, if I'm not trying, like Tabitha trying to lose weight, what the heck am I going to do with all of my mental energy? Because I have a lot
What
of
do you talk to your friends about? Because you know, you talk with your friends and you're like, I can eat this, but I can't eat that. And this gym workout was hard, or I found a new trainer, or like, you know, you talk, that's what you make your world out.
Your identity out of that.
Yeah, it's a terrible club to get kicked out of. So
It's true.
That's crazy. You know what just came up for me, which is wild, which I've never thought of before. Sorry for an aside, making this personal. But you know how I said when I was a little kid, I was always dieting from the time I was, Tabitha just said 5, and it seriously was 5. Like, you know, I think somebody called me chubby, and I was chubby. I was a chubby little kid. And but my parents didn't understand where I got it from. But my grandmother, and I realized she was always dieting, and she was a larger lady, and she died when I was just a baby. But I bet you that's where I got it from, because I had never put that together. But my parents are both very regimented. They're both very thin. They couldn't gain weight if they tried. So they, you know, just even the, you know, besides the genetics, the actual programming, I got the actual needs for, wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
And that's part of the unpacking, right? Isn't that why it's great to have these group discussions? Because we learn from each other's experiences, because sometimes we don't always know how to internalize our own experience. So when we hear somebody else say something, it actually helps us pull it back into our own experience, which then goes, oh, wait, that's what I was missing in my own experience, which is why the group coaching and community is so valuable. It's so valuable.
And it's so interesting because we can cognitize all the rationalization, and we have to eat this way and do this and calorie blah 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 blah. But we're also in a structure. I mean, the numbers that popping to mind right now, and I don't know if it's accurate or whatever, but I know it's in the billions. But the weight loss and body cost blah 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 is billions, 8, 10, who knows, billions. So there is actual motivation every time we flip on some sort of media or whatever, just walking through a mall or going through day life. There's immensely powerful, smart marketing forces behind stuff constantly at play that we're not good enough ever. And so to try and just willpower your way through that is a pretty daunting task. So to just unpack it, release it, and that trigger is gone. No, I'm going this way. I'm going this way. I am that way. I already feel it. And creating that magnetic momentum is just like, poof, bring on your best. I'm fine, you know?
There's so many cool tools that we have in our program. We have like physical anchors, we have language anchors, we have negative belief flips, we have the Recode process, we have ancestral healing, DNA magnetic alignment. We have so many tools to keep people in that forward momentum. And the community, I think, is probably the most important. Having others to like share in the experience with, to be vulnerable with, to be authentic with, not have to put on a show and say, oh, I did fabulous all week. You can come up and say, actually, I sucked this week and I'd like some help. Like,
that makes you more interesting too.
It does. Yes, I thank you. I must be very interesting then.
One thing around the community is I've heard some people are yearning and they're longing for community, but they want an uplifting, empowering community. Like we all have hurts, we all have wounds, we all have struggles, and we want to acknowledge those, and we don't want to stay there. That's the difference. You know, we are focused on forward movement, just like Michele said, going and experiencing what we want now as we continue to create it. And that's the type of empowering community where everyone has the ability to shift their focus to what they want, acknowledge the hurt, acknowledge the pain, share the trigger that happened, and then encourage and support each other to go back into what works, what we know that we're creating, what we love from our heart, and cheer each other on along the way. Like celebrating wins is so important to cement in each of those milestones and really truly drive it home. You're making progress. It's actually happening.
Yeah, definitely.
Beautiful. Yeah.
So what we were planning on doing next is Michele was going to walk us through a sample of how we unpack some of our negative beliefs. And then she was going to do a recode as a demonstration for how we can remove the resistance once some of those limiting beliefs are triggered. So I'm going to hand the Zoom floor over to Michele to do a wonderful demo for us.
Dun, dun. And as just for those watching the replay, the beautiful thing is we have certain set times, just for as an example, in our group program, where we have set times for the meetings and recodes and the processes that we do, and they're just as effective on replays. So you're not obliged to show up, and you can dip into this example right now if you're watching on the replay, and just see if you notice a shift. And it's all good.
I
You can
also add that
schedule.
if you want to do one-on-one coaching, that is also available through the program to set up like a one-on-one session if you were really struggling with something and you felt like you needed some one-on-one attention. So that's also available.
So I mentioned I'm going to invite, well, I'll just in case there's some background noise. No, that's okay. There's just the four of us. We'll have a little free flow, but
Michele,
but I've
can
been
also just add that if they haven't seen the intro to a recode, we're going to go ahead and post a video to an intro recode just so you have a little background, because on this video we're not going to go through the intro recode piece. We're just going to go straight to the recode. So if you need that background on the intro recode, we'll include a link to that video on the comment.
Yeah, look for that. Yeah, look at the comments or somewhere around the video, wherever it lands. But because there's an education piece that helps get the various parts of you on board. I'll just touch it on it very briefly in the interest of just including a little bit of education in this. When we are working here, we deal with what our vernacular is. We're dealing with 3 levels of consciousness. The self-conscious, which is your thought and reasoning and your busy mind, your processing mind, the one that makes decisions. Your unconscious, which has been around as soon as you were conceived in just before birth, all the systems that keep your body running, all the ones that internalize things, the responses, the emotions, the feelings that you have are your unconscious body, and they're the memory. And that's what comes up when they see something, when your self-conscious sees something that seems familiar. Your unconscious brings up the response that it's learned, and it's the one who has automated responses, command language and drive and all that kind of stuff. And then we also work with the superconscious, which is the term that we use here, and that speaks to all the information, everything that's out there, the higher self, the inner wisdom. We call it superconscious, and that's where it's a data bank. It's just all the information, the knowledge is available to us. And we connect with that to do the work that we do and bring in new information, help release things, and make new choices moving forward, to sum up. But as Tabitha said, check for that link, and there's a deeper dive into that. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to invite you to decide what you're focusing on, what you would like to create today in this recode. I know I'm going to be leading into the life I love, which for me is one of what we call the core choices, and it encompasses so much for me. And I don't know if the 3 of you would like to share the ones you're going to be focusing on, or just give me a thumbs up if you've settled into it.
I'll let you know. My true choice that I've been focusing on is creating a lean, healthy, strong, sexy body.
Wonderful.
It's my true choice.
I've been wallowing in winterland here in Ontario, Canada, so it's cold. I don't get out much, so I'm going to go for, I would like to create the end result of a flexible and energetic body.
Fantastic.
I'm on the fence. I love both the life I love choice and the health and vitality choice. Oh my goodness. I think I'm going to go with the health and vitality today. So I'm going to choose the end result of radiant health and vitality, which is a slender, sexy, beautiful, graceful body.
Oh, that's got a lot of energy.
I always like yours better.
I want to pick hers. I know.
I pick
We'll do
Amber.
it for a while.
Amber. I pick Amber's.
We'll all do Amber's, Michele.
Could you say that again, Amber?
I choose the end result of radiant health and vitality, a slender, sexy, graceful, beautiful body.
It's beautiful. Okay, so I'm going to go into the process, and I'm going to be asking questions, and I just invite you to, if you want to write down your answers. We're not going to be answering and going into a group. We're just going to internalize as we move through the process. So you can write a note, and just invite anybody watching the replay as well to just jot down or be aware of what the responses are to the questions. And this is an opportunity. This process does is bring up your response and your thought patterns and brings it into what we call the active experience. So then that helps us do what we're going to do. All righty. So everybody, if you could please just close your eyes and get settled. Just get centered. Whatever that looks like to you. A couple deep breaths. And really connect with what you've chosen to create today, what your true choice is. So, and I did the life I love, the health and vitality, whatever it is for you. And I invite you to really connect with what that is for you. And what will that enable you to be? What will that choice enable you to do, to have? And I invite you to complete the sentence. I want this true choice because. And if there's an awareness that there's something beyond, an even clearer choice beyond that immediate desire, just be aware of it. And now really connect with your body and ask yourself and be aware, how does this choice feel? Viscerally in your body, this is when we're connecting with your unconscious self. Just be really aware. Do you feel it in your heart? Is it grounded? Is there something maybe in your solar plexus, in your belly? Anything in your head? Does it have a smell? Does it have a sound? Is there any texture? Is there a color, a weight? Just really be with it. Is there any emotions with it? Joy, courage, knowing, confidence? That's fantastic. Now I invite you to put all the information you have, all the feelings, everything you've connected with, and put it all safely in a nice golden bubble. A strong, resilient, safe, energetic bubble. Just leave it maybe in front of you, ahead of you, above you, someplace safe. And there's a cord attached to the bubble and to you. It's not going anywhere. You're safely connected to it. It's strong, it's secure, it's unbreakable, but flexible. And now I invite you to come back to your current experience. Today, whatever you showed up to the call with, your current reality, how does this feel? Does it differ from your desired reality, the choice you made? How is it different? How does it feel in the current reality? How does it feel in comparison to your desired reality? Is there a difference to the weight? Is it heavier? Is there perhaps a contraction, constriction? Has your forehead furrowed? Is there more stress in your body? Is there more busy thoughts? Is there more judgments? Just simply be aware of what's coming up. What would you need to believe to create your current experience? What would you have to believe about the world? It's hard. It's unfair. Whatever's coming up. I'd love to have that desired true choice, but what comes up? It's not for me. I can never do it. I'm going to fail anyway. Just notice what's coming up. And now I invite you to check in and see if you could put a number to the resistance you feel between what's happening right now today and all that desired reality in that golden bubble. 0 being no problem. I've got it. I can get there without any problem. I'm on the express interstate. 10 being I am in cement. I'm not getting anywhere near it. I'm trying to swim through peanut butter. Just note the first number that comes to your mind. You can share it in the chat or just take note of it or write it down. Thanks, everyone. 10s, we have a 4. All right. So again, let's get recentered. Maybe you need to wiggle your shoulders. Where is your big toe? Where's your left big toe? What's going on there? Just inviting you to get centered in your body. How do you feel against the chair? Now let's set the intention for this recode to increase satisfaction, decrease pain, and reduce your resistance to taking your next action towards your true choice. And when I ask you, please just give me permission to connect to your superconscious. So just please say, Michele, I give you permission to connect to my superconscious. And just relax into the experience. Observe everything, expect nothing. Superconscious, are you there? Thank you. Now, superconscious, we're going to use the metaphor of the river of desire. Imagine your true choice at the end of the river. It's land with the golden bubble. There it is. And we're at the other end of the river, safely on a raft, but there's obstacles in our way. There might be some boulders, might be some trees that are over the river impeding our progress. There's a sandbar. We're using the Recode process to just gently dissolve, chip away at all the obstacles in our way, increasing the flow and the ease of just arriving down the river to our desired reality. All the boulders and everything pops up in a particular sequence, and super conscious, the particular order to just release all these obstacles in our way. Do you understand how to diagnose and treat this? Thank you. Super conscious are all parts on the treatment team and desire treatment. Thank you. Superconscious, do you see this resistance of alignment with desire? I deserve, I commit, I trust, I am, I will. Everything that's coming up about worth, being allowed to have this desire, any resistance to the belief that you can have it, that you're good enough to allow it, to receive it, to even choose it, anything that's coming up into the active experience, the resistance. Tagging everything that's coming up. Superconscious, you see the resistance to beliefs, to identity, to others. The belief that others are better and more deserving and worthy. Tagging everything that's coming up, creating a perfect treatment plan in the perfect order, and doing a massive change history. Superconscious, do you see the resistance to the part personalities, the protector controller, the inner child, the pleaser, the wounded, the perfectionist? Do you see that fierce, wounded part personality? The one who's been so hurt by the judgment, never being good enough, never being pretty enough, skinny enough, fit enough, lean enough. Everything that's coming up. All the judgments continually showering down everywhere we turn. Never skinny enough, never fit enough, never curvy enough, never tall enough. Too tall. Everything, conscious and unconscious, that's been implanted in us since pre-conscious memory and beyond. Always struggling, always falling short, tagging everything that's coming up in the active experience. And just beyond our awareness, superconscious, do you see everything popping up? Tagging everything, doing massive change history. Superconscious, do you see this resistance? Just this own tired fatigue of never reaching the finish line. Just acknowledging all the effort that's gone in over the years, over the generations, seeing everything that's coming up, never being good enough, never getting there, wanting it, making it conditional, if then, all the tension in that structure, just the oscillation, seeing everything that's coming up, see the resistance to feeling good now, see the resistance, the insistence on using shame as a motivation. You're not allowed to feel good now. Everything that's coming up with the identity, the rule of being a failure if you don't reach that moving goal line. Everything that's coming up. Without the shame, you won't reach your goal. Honoring all the effort that's gone in, all these part personalities that have worked so hard to keep you safe, to motivate you, to keep you moving towards that unattainable goal. Everything that's coming up, tagging and everything and treating. Do you see the resistance to the emotions of shame and guilt? Shame of never having achieved it, or having achieved it and lost it and gained back even more. All the self-recrimination, tagging everything up, just the exhausting spiral of entanglement, of obligation and motivation and willpower and failure. Just everything that's coming up. You see the resistance to acknowledging that it's not yours. You were just born into it, generations upon generations. It's been a huge burden to carry. Huge, it's exhausting. It's safe. It's safe to feel good now, to love yourself now. Everything that brought up. The insistence that it's not safe, that it's never good enough. Tagging everything, just doing a massive, massive change history, gently releasing and acknowledging all the experiences, all the emotion. It's been working so hard to keep you safe, to keep you good enough. Thank you. None of the information is lost. All the wisdom is retained, just releasing the triggers and the ingrained emotional responses. With gratitude, doing a massive change history. Superconscious, do you see that resistance to the body systems? All the hardwired, patterned responses to food, to clothes, to weight, to mirror images, to the lenses, the body dysmorphia, all the energetic triggers, the stress, the cortisol. Just honoring it, appreciating it, loving it for everything it's been doing to keep us safe and alive, and acknowledging the wisdom, releasing the triggers, allowing something new to come in, tagging everything, doing massive change history with gratitude. Superconscious, can you see this end, this desire, this end result? Sort of living the life I love, health and vitality, loving your body, being it now. Superconscious, just feel what it's like to have it now. Acknowledging, tagging any more resistance popping up, any resistance to feeling it now. Feeling good, feeling empowered, feeling grounded, feeling strong, flexible, joyful, expansive. Tagging any resistance still coming up, releasing a massive change history. Stepping into that golden bubble, everything that is here right now. The groundedness, the confidence, the expansiveness, the joy, presence. Feeling it in your body, allowing new patterns, new instructions, new energetic pathways to be constructed and solidified. Feeling that joy, that strength, that resilience, that fun, that laughter, everything that's in your golden bubble. See that knob, amplify it, turn it up 2 notches. The bubble is expanding, it's filling the whole room. Releasing any residual resistance with gratitude and a massive change history. Make that feeling even more intense. You're in it, you're radiating. Superconscious, please ground all the memories we've touched today. Memories 1, 2, and 3, superconscious, self-conscious, unconscious, and reconnect them to the matrix of the universe, grounding down into Mother Earth and all the way back up, reconnecting, staying connected to superconscious with gratitude. And when you're ready, you can come back to the room and just be aware of any instructions, any knowing you have a next action step you can take towards this reality. And taking note of the number that's coming to mind now. If there's been a shift with your resistance, you're welcome to share it and take yourselves off of mute if you like.
I went to 0. That image you had us put in the bubble, she popped the bubble and she came out and said, I'm taking over now. And she like came into my body and took over. It was actually kind of a cool visual. So,
neat.
yeah, she was like, let me out of the bubble. I popped it and was like, by the way, I'm taking over now. Thank you for your service.
Nice.
That was actually a cool visual. So I like it when that happens.
I love that you're so visual. You always have the greatest, woo, this happened.
You know, I think it's because I do visualization meditations every morning. Like I rehearse it every morning in my head because there's so much neuroscience about when you rehearse something like neurologically in your mind, how it actually becomes your new reality before it becomes your new physical reality.
Yeah, it's nice that we all have our different experiences and modalities to dip into and share as well.
Definitely.
Julie's got some background noise, but she's at a 0 now.
Nice.
How was it for you, Amber?
It was amazing. The most interesting thing I noticed is that the resistance is gone, but my personality still wants there to be resistance.
Interesting, hey?
Yeah, stepping into like the dialing up of the experience of what I wanted at the end, what I'm choosing, not even what I wanted, what I've chosen, and what's already manifesting. It was just effortless, and I felt it now here, like sitting here, and like and there wasn't any resistance at all. But as soon as we came back, I could feel that part of me saying it can't be that easy. It has to be hard. Like it's not all the way like shifted or changed. And yeah. And so then I'm like thinking, well, what number is it? You know, and it truly is a 0, but my critical mind wants to say it's a 2 or it's a 4 or something like that. So yeah, it was very interesting. I've not had that awareness before. I'm sure it's happened, but because I don't know if I've ever gotten to a 0, but I just haven't allowed myself to acknowledge it.
Isn't that interesting though? But you can see you're coming now. It's like, you know, hang on. It's really, that's just the space between the trigger and reaction is massive. And that's just building the muscle, right? And it's like, oh, I see you.
That allowance is incredible, Amber. That's amazing. I feel like that's like a step, like you're there.
Yeah, no, it truly feels like that. And my pup came in the room too. She's like sitting right down here. And you know, when the animals come in, it's they're feeling the energy move and they're feeling the shift. Where's yours, Julie?
Snoring back here. He just woke up.
This is my
I
Here he
see.
is. Oh, look.
Okay, well,
we got all our little co-pilots.
Oh my God.
Aww.
That painting behind you is so spot on.
It is. That's a great painting.
Right?
that's her.
That's awesome. But what I love that you said, Amber, also is a reminder just how the analogy that popped to mind is kind of the repeating pattern of like an abusive relationship. It's kind of like, but I know this and it's familiar. I know this is familiar. So for you to see that going, hang on, that's a tried and true energy, is to have that resistance and be using that force, right? And so it takes a little bit.
It's so familiar. I didn't even realize it had happened until we started, you know, having a little bit of a share at the end. And then I was like, wait a second.
That's exciting because it's been there your whole life. You're like, it's right.
It's that thing that nothing's ever good enough and I can't do it and it works for other people, but it never for me, you know.
Wait, I thought that was my field that she was because I was literally like, how did she know?
Yeah, it's like they're going, hello, I'm still here.
Right, exactly.
You see them coming now. Woohoo.
That was beautiful.
Oh, that was such a beautiful recode. And like for all of you who are watching the replay of this, we're going to go ahead and post this on our YouTube channel. And if you can, share it with somebody that you think might need to hear what we were all expressing tonight. Because I think a lot of the time when we go through this cycle of diet and fitness and then gaining it and then losing it and gaining it and losing it, we feel like we're alone and we feel like we're the only one who struggles. And we feel like failures, and then that isolation and that shame shawl that we wear is what keeps us in that oscillating pattern where we use something painful to motivate us. Like I remember for me, it was like, you know, getting to 307 pounds and it was like, I can't be this heavy, right? And so that was the pain point for me. And then I used shame and all these things to get me down, and then I'd gain it and lose it and gain it, lose it. But like, but if you know somebody who might like feel validated in their experience or would even get some kind of knowledge from this, or just that like that shared comfort of knowing that they're not alone, please feel free to share it with them and to tell them a little bit about Soma Tribe. And also we will have a link to schedule like a free one-on-one consultation as well if you're more interested in one-on-one coaching, if group coaching isn't the thing for you. But these tools will also be available in our group.
You do both?
A monthly group.
I do both.
It's all open, and there's also opportunity to just have a one-on-one chat with any of us to learn more about the tribe, ask your questions, and also to experience like a sample Recode what that feels like one-on-one as well. And we'll have other tools in the tribe too, like a monthly topic and a workbook and things like that. So it's going to be really a really valuable experience, and we're excited for all of those of you who are joining us, and the changes and the beauty that's going to flow freely into your life through this experience. So I just wanted to say that it is really life altering in a very beautiful and magical way.
So, and where can they find the link to join Soma Tribe, or the website?
So our site is called is join.
The link will be around the video somewhere.
Yeah, it'll probably be in the comments of this video, but I believe is it join/somatribe.org?
It's join.somatribe.org.
I was
So easy.
close. I'm the tech challenge one. I was so close.
We'll drop the link wherever we can drop the link.
Yeah, we can drop
Greater
it.
surrounding area of the real estate around the video.
Yes.
And I think we're starting out at a special low price, aren't we, too? Because just
It'll
to get
be
started.
We're so excited to get as many people enrolled in this program as possible, that we wanted to make it as attainable as possible to the most amount of people. And so we are offering a very early bird discount that is steeply discounted. So it will not be like that forever. But if you see this and you want in on that really low price, that is for our newcomers who are joining us from the gate of this amazing experience that we're all about to go down.
And I can honestly say that, speaking of, sorry, just wanted to pop in here, but speaking of body image, and like, I just can't believe the difference in that this program has made, that we're all sharing with everybody. And with this, you get with the program. I just can't believe how much we're offering, because you get the accountability of the community, you get the live recodes with us, and all the education for such a low price. And it's going to change your life, because it has mine. It just has been so incredible. You wouldn't even recognize me from 2 years ago, or even 6 months ago. It's an ongoing change, and it's exciting.
Yeah, me too. Like, everyone has said to me, like, I can't believe, like, I specialize on the trauma one, but I specialize in trauma, and everyone's saying, I can't believe how much trauma you had to process through in such a short period of time. Tell me how you did it, because you should still be in therapy for the next 20 years. And I'm like, no, I'm good. I don't have trauma triggers anymore. I don't dissociate anymore. Most of my old trigger patterns are gone. Like, it's amazing what we're going to be giving the world. So it's a gift. It's a beautiful gift.
This has been so much fun, ladies. Yay.
Yes. Thank you. And thank you for everyone who's on here and who's sharing this content with others. We appreciate it. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm sure there will be some kind of fun subscribe button eventually that I will put into this. Learn how to use YouTube.
Right down here.
It's right.
What's the other thing? Imperfect action is better than perfect inaction. So we're getting it all together as we careen along here.
All right. So have a wonderful evening. I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording. Please feel free to engage with us on social media if you have any questions.